Give them another hand. So it's safe to say each time I come to Lincolnton and Lincoln County, I can have you all sing for me. Amen. All right. I do want to say thank you so very much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here. Mayor, thank you so very much for taking the time to come, and to the city manager and the superintendent of schools. I'm really excited to see you here as well. To each of you, thank you so very much for coming. I will say this to Dr. Collinger: I'm going to book you to do all my introductions. Because you make it easy for me to get up. I'm really excited about hopefully checking one of those things off your list as far as representations of African Americans. I hope you all will vote for me in this next congressional race. Excited about it. I brought my team down, and my one person who wasn't introduced is my field agent, and Carmen Ramos Kennedy is the person who wants to work with you to get me elected. So please volunteer. So I'm here to talk a little bit about Dr. Martin Luther King, and I'm excited to do so. I hope you all are ready, because I'm going to challenge you just a little bit. Just a little bit, because you know, when it was said about what wasn't done in Lincoln County and Lincolnton and the whole district, and I think Wayne laid it all out for us. I thought about, well, how many actually put their name in the race? All right. You can't get rid of it, or you can't change that until someone get elected. I'm going to get myself. So I'll just stay with my little script, because I don't want to make y'all too mad, because I want you to vote twice. But we're going to talk about a day on and not a day off. But before we get to that, let's talk about time. You know, it was already said about the death of Dr. Martin Luther King and the legacy that he has left. Do you all realize he was only 39 years old when he passed away, when he was killed? 39 years old. I want you all to think about 39 years old. What were you doing at 35? Just for those of you who are not 35 yet, what will you be doing? Because time, he only had the same amount of time as most of us, all of us. 365 days in 1 year. Time. When we think about the time that Dr. King spent changing, transforming the United States of America, which is what he did so at a time that most people said was inconvenient. Why not, Dr. King? Why are you pressing us to transform the paradigm of the South? Why are you pushing us in Atlanta, Montgomery? Why are you making a difference in Tennessee and North Carolina, South Carolina? Why are you pushing this time? Because he was a young man then. A young man. Time. And the time was then, it was the right time for him to push the needle for change. President Obama likes to say he's the first one to really think about change. Sometimes he says that, but he really wasn't. He'll tell you that. But the thing about change, it's not easy. It wasn't comfortable. It wasn't in the 1950s, just as it isn't now. But Dr. King saw that it was the right time to make the move for our nation. The right time for African Americans to be able to sit at the lunch counters. The right time for the laws to change to allow African Americans to vote without having to have a piece of paper to say who their name was. Not having to prove that they were able to do a poll tax. The right time for African Americans to step up. He said it was time. And most people pressed him because if you think about when he first started, he wasn't even 20 yet. He wasn't even 20. I think that, you know, Dr. Mosley and Reverend from my area, they called him a rabble rouser. That's old school for a troublemaker. That's old school. But he did it because it was needed. It was necessary for him. It was necessary for our country to change a paradigm that was been in place for years. Separate wasn't equal. It wasn't right. Jim Crow wasn't right. It was time. The next thing I like to say is, it was not only just time, he had obstacles. Wayne already mentioned the fact that it wasn't convenient, and he did spend time in jail. We forget about that, because most of us know about I Have a Dream, and hearing the speech and talking about his wonderful orator, his ability to speak in such a way that would cause people to just stop, pause, and listen to what he had to say. But they forget about the time that he spent in jail, often. You know, I was looking at the letter from Birmingham jail, and the letter was written April 16, 1963, and it wasn't written to the masses. It wasn't.
Amen.
It wasn't.
Amen.
It was written to the clergy.
Yes, yes.
In Birmingham. None of you would do this, but they were saying, why did you come to Birmingham to shake up things in Birmingham? Why did you come push the mayors and city council in Birmingham now? We just had an election. Why don't you give them a time to get in? And he talked about the moderate whites in Birmingham.
Jesus.
He explained to the ministers and to the pastors why it was the fierce urgency of now. That's why he was there, to make a difference in Birmingham. He couldn't wait. He couldn't wait in Birmingham. And so he wrote one of the longest letters ever written from him to the ministers who had opposition about his desire for change. Ministers who looked like him. Not ministers who didn't look like him, but ministers who looked like him. They were an obstacle, but that didn't stop him. He continued to persevere and to move forward because he understood the time was then to make a change in our nation. The legacy of Dr. King. Third thing, the legacy of Dr. King. Dr. King's legacy is that of one of nonviolence. That's first and foremost. People know today that Dr. King didn't believe in fighting. He didn't believe in cutting somebody up if they didn't agree with him. He used the tongue. He used the marches. He used the ability to change the course of action by showing people a greater tomorrow, a greater America, a stronger America. Understanding that when students who get books that have been used and pages torn out, that wasn't the best for our country. That wasn't the best. That when people go to Woolworth and they couldn't sit at the lunch counter, even though they had the same money, that it wasn't accepted unless they went to the backside. Now, I grew up in Asheville, North Carolina, and as a young girl, we went by one of the buildings downtown that has been rehabilitated. And as a young girl, it still said, I saw, for whites only, for colors only. You can see they bricked up the doors where the bathrooms were. And you can see where they scraped the paint off. But something about evil, even if you try to remove it and you don't address it, it's still there. I learned this when I hurt my finger this week. Things covered don't heal. You got to let air get to it. You got to be able to face the fact that this is what we used to be. But that's not who we are today. And Dr. King fought for that. He believed in a better America. And I think we do have a better America. I'm happy that we have an African American president. I'm happy with I'll say I'm on a council with the president. I'm one of the first ones to say, President, you're wrong on this issue. You didn't do this quite right. But that's America. That's to be able to have that discourse and say, how do we get better? Where are we short in this area? How do we make things better? And how do we make our communities and our country better collectively? We point out the good, we point out the bad, then we grow from it, right? Right. So let's talk about time. Your time. Dr. King used his time wisely to make a change for our nation. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm just asking you to do it for Lincoln County. Amen. I'm just asking you, if you don't already volunteer in our school system, I'm challenging you to volunteer in our school system in Lincoln County. I'm quite sure our superintendent needs more volunteers. Because if it's anything like the rest of the nation, when almost 1/3 of the student population who are African American drop out, something's wrong. That's right. It's important for us to become the change that we want to see. Mahatma Gandhi first said it first. You want to see change in Lincoln County and Lincolnton? When you point one finger up here at me, you have 3 pointing back at yourself. My challenge to you today is to look at your time and how you're using your resources and to further Dr. King's dream. You know, I want to say thank you so very much for inviting me to the Cultural Center. You all give yourselves a hand. This is have donated to keep it open? Just how many of you volunteer to make sure that programs here are successful? You have something in your community that's a gift that not a lot of communities have, but you have to help take care of it. You got to make sure that it's run well. Your time, your talent. Pause for a moment. Look around the room. Just take a moment. Look around the room. Every 18 to 25-year-old stand up. What's that? 3, 4? Out of an assembly of approximately, let's say, 70, 80? If you don't see something wrong with that, let me help you see why it's wrong. Thank you all. Give them a hand for being here. Not that you all are not leaders, but those are the individuals who will lead your community. Why are they not at the table? Often when I go places, I'm looking for the 18 to 24-year-olds to see where they are. Are they at the table making decisions? Are they volunteering their time? Are they being used in leadership positions? Because that's the age group that Martin Luther King used. Because they were willing to step out. That age group and younger, to be honest. We have to train our young people. We have to encourage them to come. We have to make, Grandma's y'all gonna have to call them and make them come. You can do it. You can do it. We have got to make sure that if we want the legacy of Dr. King's nonviolent, action-oriented agendas continue, we have to make sure our 18 to 24-year-olds are a part of that agenda, that they're at the meetings, that they're volunteering, that they're at the churches to hear the needs of our community, that they're at the school board meetings, that they are an integral part of the success of the community. Obstacles. Will there be obstacles for you? Yes. Yes. That's just for anything. For Dr. King, it was jail. It was ministers who didn't agree with him. It was the fact that he was a father and he missed his children. He wasn't there for every basketball game, football game, every contest that they had. He missed that. But he thought that he needed to make a change for our nation. Those were obstacles. For you, what are your obstacles? Paying your bills on time, getting to places on time, but you need to do it. Schedule it. It's about having a strategy. I gotta ask you a question. This is just a gut check. How many of you have a plan for your life? Go ahead and raise your hand. All right, for those who have their hands raised, I'm gonna make you stand up. This is important. I do it when I speak in different places. Stand up. For those who have a plan and have written it out, stand up. You gotta write it out. For those who have written it out, how many of you look at it every day? If you don't look at it every day, sit down. You all, the people who are still standing are more likely to achieve their dreams and goals and their plans in life than anyone else in this room because they have a vision, they've written it, and they look at it every day in order to see where they are. Give them a hand. And why is it important to write your plan? If you are not strong enough, committed enough to write your own plan, you won't achieve it. You will just wake up every day living, missing opportunities. Dr. King had a plan that others could follow in order for them to support his vision for where he wanted to go. You all, they didn't have email. They couldn't Google. They didn't have those luxuries that we have today. They didn't have email where they can post things and Facebook, and so everybody can see, okay, we're going to rally at 3 o'clock over in Montgomery today. We're going to meet down in Tennessee and Memphis to make sure we're protecting our sanitation workers. They didn't have that. So they had to get on the phone. They had to have a vision of when things were going to happen so that it would be clear of what they wanted to happen, when it was going to happen, what they wanted to happen, where it was going to happen. You all, I'm asking you to get a plan for your life that's going to include a written plan so that we can see progress in our communities. It's not enough to acknowledge the fact that we've not elected anyone in Lincoln County of color. Not if you're not getting someone ready to run. You got to be in it to win it. You can't get mad and say, they want to elect us. Well, you haven't any candidates up. And I'm not saying that you haven't, but if you have and it wasn't successful, you don't stop. You do it again, and again, and again. You don't stop. You don't stop. You don't allow obstacles to get in your way. You don't stop. The last thing related to you and Dr. King's dream is legacy. What is your legacy? Think about that. Legacy is defined as anything handed down from the past as from an ancestor or predecessor. What's your legacy? Mine would be, for my children, is Mama loved to pray. Mama worked really hard. She volunteered a lot in the community. My mama wasn't a what-if person. What if I ran for Congress? What if Mama was a doer? That's my legacy for my children. That and a couple of insurance policies and a couple of shoes and just had to slide that one. But what's your legacy? Is it one of being a doer that changed the pulse of the community? I don't remember your name, but I'm going to iTunes, so I need to know your name before I leave here because I'm going to invest in your dream. Because you've taken the ability, you in that 18 and 24, you believe in yourself enough to get somebody to record some music and to record you and then to put yourself out there to Rhapsody and iTunes. That's what we need to do. So everybody should have Don't tell me you don't like her music, but you believe in her. You believe in her. Maybe you don't like this song. Well, so what? Well, believe in her and let her know that I believe in you enough that I'm going to buy this song, and the next one maybe I'll like it. Sometimes you believe in a person because you want them to do better, and if she's doing better, then she's going to tell some other teenagers that this is what I did, and my own community blew up iTunes and bought it from me. You all got to believe in our young people. You got to believe. And that's my job to buy your iTunes song today and tell others about it because I believe in you. Her legacy is, I did something that no one else in my family did. What's your legacy? You know, there's a book that I read that says, we're all living epistles, not yet written of men. We're all books. What is somebody reading in your chapter? Are they reading your chapter to say, they said they would have if they had somebody to support them, they could have done it? Or, this person believed in Dr. King's dream so much every year, they made sure that young people attended the breakfast for free because they paid for it. That every year they had a book drive to make sure that children had books at their own home to read that were not school books. Do you know, according to a study that was released in Asheville, that homes with over 100 books in them have more literate children than other homes? So guess what I went and made sure I had one. I'm making sure my children are reading. And it's not about going to buy the newest books off of Barnes and Noble bookshelf. We have a bookstore in Asheville where you can take your old ones and get you some new ones, and it's discounted. I found a way to meet my needs at an economical price for my family, but to help my kids read. Because that's my legacy, making sure that they get what they need, their tools for success. What's your legacy? What are people saying about you? Are they saying that we can count on that choir to be there? We can count on such and such to be there because they believe in the community? Or, Lord, you know she wasn't going to be there no way. She has the best voice, but you knew she wasn't going to come nowhere. What are they saying about you? What are people talking about you? What's your legacy? How are you moving the needle on civil rights? How are you making our communities better? When you leave this place, that dash, what does that represent for your life? Because Dr. King's dash, we all know about it. We all know about it. Well, everyone may not know about the dash in your life when you leave here, but someone should. Someone should know that you were here and you made a difference, not just for you and yours and no more, but the community for others. That's what I'm talking about, the legacy that you can leave. The time is now. The time is now. It's time. If you're still living, you're still breathing, it's not too late. The time is now. Don't tell me you're too old. You can have some young ladies over and tell them how you made it through. You can talk to them about their future and how you raised a family on hardly anything, but you got sons and daughters who've gone to college. It's not too late. Obstacles come. I'm going to write a book one day. Don't take my title, I'm looking at you all. Stiletto heels are made for breaking glass ceilings. I have part of it now, because obstacles come. You know, I had, I'll just say, I had some people talk about Congress and the fact that, you know, I've been there for a couple of years. I've been in politics for 12 years, and I have an opponent, a couple of opponents in the Democratic primary. And somebody's just like, well, aren't you afraid? I said, for what? Fear is the false evidence appearing real. I got a destiny. I have a destiny. I have a destiny. And my stiletto heels are made for breaking glass ceilings. You all have to do something to encourage yourself, because you will have obstacles in life. You will have obstacles when you try to achieve your goals. But don't stop. Someone's looking at you. Someone believes in you. Someone needs you to make a big difference. Dr. King had obstacles. He did. But he continued to persevere. You all, do it. Do it tired. Do it weary. Do it afraid. But do it. Your talents are necessary. Because your legacy is what you leave behind. I'm asking you to leave a legacy. Maybe not as big as Dr. King's, but one that is memorable to someone else besides you and your four and no more. Thank you all so very much.
Let's give her another hand. I wonder if one of the ushers will help escort Ms. Foster to the podium. I see you there, Ms. Foster. Before he leaves, I think he just left. I want to thank Jamel for we're going to have refreshments immediately following this this service. I'm going to ask the campaign manager, where is she? There she is. Campaign manager, the real campaign, you know, the one that works with her, if you would escort her down to that area so that they can do more talking or what have you with her. And down in the playground, which is, you're going to take this right, not now, but to this right. We're going to get a little bit more to the right. It's going to be obedient. To the right, and then take the elevators and go down to that area. In that area, I think Ms. Foster needs to get in.